President, honored delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control. We shall propose, finally, a global systems of communication satellites linking the whole world in telegraph and telephone and radio and television. The day need not be far away when such a system will televise the proceedings of this body to every corner of the world for the benefit of peace.
You just get on to Mr.
Yes,
Fletcher.
sir.
Another question on the in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilize it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
So yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this
The Navy Warfare Development Command tested a new anti-ship missile defense system June 21st through 25th. Pandora Fog consists of shipboard radar-absorbing carbon fiber clouds tested under a variety of at-sea conditions using assets from the U.S. Army, Navy, and Air Force. These man-made clouds are part of a layered defense and are capable of preventing a missile from detecting and striking its target.
All right, guys, welcome in Thanksgiving night. Hey, we're here. I'm thankful for all the activists out there that put out the truth every night for as long as we can. We're now down to 11 days, 54 minutes, 55 seconds until the end of free speech as we know it. In fact, it's been slowly being took away, slowly, a little bit at a time. So anyway, we're going to be jumping in to some stuff that could solve the climate change crisis, the global warming, as they say, the climate chaos. One simple thing you could do, and it would take care of it, the so-called agenda that they're talking about. But check this out. Coming out of the San Francisco Chronicle, fog brings poison mercury to Santa Cruz Mountains. Mountain lions are suffering. Where is this coming from? Coastal fog. And then you get these headlines coming out. An alarming amount of toxic mercury can now be found in the coastal fog. They used to spray poison fog off the coast. The U.S. government experiments on the people. And let me show you something what's going on right now out here off the coast. I showed you the Pandora fog exercise. I showed you all the boats out there, even back, way back. In fact, it's so far back. Here is the patent on the very first method and means for producing smoke screens for ships, filed back in April 9th, 1917. The serial number 160863. The art of producing smoke screen for a ship would consist in subjecting the funnel smoke adjacent to the point of delivery to the liquid spray, which caused smoke to descend and form a cloud adjacent to the ship. Here is a enhanced or a little bit bigger version of the picture here. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Patented March 4th, 1919. So this has been going on for a very, very long time. Now here's some more little clippings from, here's a secret document from the Bristol Aero Engines Limited. This come out August 7th, 1958 from the Chemical Defense Experimental Establishment. And I got everything is highlighted here. This means that if necessary, the rate of the oil flow, which is to be provided, can be doubled for the same stored volume. It will then be a little higher than it used in the Hunter trails. They call them Hunter trails. We now know that the oil, the SAE 30 quality, is likely to have a higher persistent than the DERV. And I'm going to blow your mind with some of this information tonight. Another secret document from the Admiral Chemical Warfare Department. In an attempt to find a suitable chemical which might be added to the kerosene to act as a smoke-producing agent for the Bloodhound operation. Research and development, missile tracking purposes. Some experiments already have been carried out. Smoke-producing additives be effective at not more than 5% the weight mixture. Then you have this. For the present, here I'll just read the highlighted. Widespread interest in cloud seeding followed almost immediately after the GE experiments. You know, the power company G&E. In the early 1950s, this was a great flurry of private commercial rainmaking business. Practically anyone with an airplane, a pilot license, and a silver iodide generator could become a rainmaker. These are all facts, ladies and gentlemen. These are all way back, and you don't think they stopped? You think they just stopped? No, they've been getting the system better. You know, they're doing geostorm weather out here. There are also other ways to seeding and to modify the cumulus. Seeding with dry ice silver iodide is effective only in supercool clouds. The main seeding methods mentioned: hygroscopic water spray to increase precipitation efficiency. And probably won't read all this, so I got so much more to get into. Here's from 1987. The phenomenon will not occur in cloud formations warmer than the nuclei activation temperature, which is always less than 0 C. The method and compositions of the present invention will cause the release of heat, hydration with resulting condensation in the atmosphere at temperatures above and below. This is when we're talking about the ice nucleation and the activation of the temperature. This is why the snow don't melt. Now here's a fellow activist and great researcher. We're over here at the Climate Viewer News, and we're going to get into some things here. And tonight we're mainly focusing on the ship tracks. Did you know that 16 ships can produce more CO2 than all the cars on the planet? Let that sink in. 16 ships produce more CO2 than all the cars on the planet. And we're going to get into so much stuff on this. I mean, this stuff is just, they're going crazy out here with our skies. And I got several articles that we're going to be going over. And I'm trying to see if I highlighted any of this stuff. Probably not. Anyway, let me go ahead and knock out a couple of these articles, and then we'll jump into that. The rest of the stuff. So if you look at the MSN, the mainstream news comes out, and they say hundreds stranded on Interstate 5 in bomb cyclone fallout. You know, when they're using terms like bomb cyclone, fallout, this is code for what's coming. You know, they're speaking in codes, and they're damn sure not telling the truth. Threat of mudslides return to California after devastating fires. How do they work? Well, they modify the atmospheric rivers. They create a man-made cloud deck, which brightens the clouds, traps the heat in. Then they also hit it with the ionizers and the microwaves to affect the jet streams and all that. See, they don't tell you the truth. We also have dead tree after dead tree, the case of Washington's dying foliage. Everything is dying from what they're putting in the skies, in the oceans, but yet they want to blame it on us. They want us to pay for them to try to clean up their own mess. It's not going to work. Here's more. Fog brings poison mercury to Santa Cruz Mountains. And I think I might have already went over this. So the study tested the hair and whiskers of dozens of mountain lions living on the coast of the inland areas, including the Klamath, Sahara Nevada, and Cascade ranges, with a sample taken from museums for comparison. Lab analysis found that an average of 3 times more methyl mercury in the Santa Cruz Mountains than in cougars living in less foggy regions. This is the Pandora fog coming in. I'm going to show you the maps. I'm going to show you what they're doing out there. Now, this alarming amount of toxic mercury can now be found in the coastal fog. We have nanoplastics. We have more gallons floating around. And we're done with all these, so let me get out of this stuff. All these links are in the description. Maybe some of these climate activists and climate people will watch this video and see what's really going on. So this image is from 11/26/2019, 1810 UTC time. And as you can see, all these brighter white lines are the bunker fuel operations. This is the ship tracks. They go all the way up into the Aleutian Island chain. And when I back this out, we can see them down off the coast of California. Hold on, let me forward up a frame here, if it'll let me here. This thing takes so long. I'm trying to stream in 1080 tonight, so I'm hoping this will work here. See, I gotta almost shrink it down to get it to go where I need it, because it takes so long to load these files. But we can come down here. Let's get this to clear up. It changed already on me. As soon as this loads, you're going to see the other bunker fuel operations out here off the Bajas and right off the coast of California, between California and Alaska. Here, I'm going to let this try to load, and then we'll come back to it, because I got other ways to show you. And here's the scary thing. We have, you know, that storm that just went across the United States. They sprayed tons of bunker fuel in it, loaded it up. Well, now they're getting ready to send the same storm over to the UK, Ireland, Europe. There was no ship tracks out here whatsoever until today. They're setting the system up. They're seeding the front of the storm. And we can see, 16 ships put off more CO2 than all the cars in the planet. Then we got at least 16 weather modification ships out here. At least. So right there, you stop these bunker fuel operations. You stop the aerosols that are being deployed in our skies. You turn off all the cloud ionizers for 2 weeks, and the earth will heal itself. Guaranteed. So if you're a climate activist, I'm telling you right now what you need to be protesting and how to stop it. We can see yesterday more bunker fuel down in the south. I mean, I got tons of ways to show you all these bunker fuel operations. And let me just see if this is loaded a little better now. So this thing always goes so fast. So let me pause this. We'll take it frame by frame. So here's a big X. I don't know if you guys can see that. If I zoom in, it's probably going to mess it up, but I'll zoom in anyway. So you got a big X of bunker fuel being deployed, setting up this southern part of the atmospheric river. Yeah, this thing just takes so long to load. And then, so here is on the 26th. This is before any of the storms got here. You have a huge Pandora fog exercise going on there and up here. And what happened as this atmospheric river come through here, right where all these weather modification ships were, it split the atmospheric river into two pieces. And then the other part of the atmospheric river that was split come down to this area, and it split again. They created two weather systems using the ship tracks, the bunker fuel, the cloud brightening. And I'm going to get into the scientific evidence and articles of what I'm talking about. It's so blatant. So let me see if I can go into some of these articles here over here at the Climate Viewer News. Accidental geoengineering with ship tracks and contrails. They want to call them accidental. It's not by accident, ladies and gentlemen. This is on purpose. I just showed you the patent from way back in the day, and they've been using it. They've been using it in the wars. It's a weather modification. It's part of the weather modification. So it's just nuts that 16 ships can produce more CO2 than all the cars on the planet. But then they want to blame the global warming on us. You have, ocean liners out here that cost $150,000 a seat, cruising around up in the Arctic where they melted it on purpose. And the ships are sold out. They're booked months in advance. Who can afford a $150,000 ship pass per person? Take a guess. So they want to call this accidental geoengineering, but that's not an accident at all. So let me try to get into some of this here. So the appropriate amount of cooling power, the sulfate aerosol in the troposphere as emitted from coal-fired power stations from the ship bunker fuel, this aerosol has offset CO2 warming by about 75% in the past century. There should be a temporary suspension of its initiatives and regulations to suppress these emissions. Now, while they are having a significant cooling effect in the northern hemisphere, it also puts the human health at risk. And what they're not telling you about this is that these clouds may cool it off during the day, but they trap the heat in at night. There's nowhere for this poison fog to go. It's trapped. It's trapped in place by a blanket. The regulation to ban bunker fuel on ships have been relaxed while encouraging continued use of the bunker fuel where the resulting aerosol emissions might be beneficial. So instead of keeping the regulations going, they're lifting the regulations because they're saying it's fighting the global warming. You know, this is a strategic plan that was set to the world leaders as a way to save the planet from the runaway global warming. You know, what happened to all Al Gore's predictions? Not one of them come true. Not one of them. This won't come true either. The climate crisis, the climate change is all a farce. Global sea rise, all a farce. We can prove that too. You know, they call these things, these ships have different fuels that they can run on. They can run on clean fuel when they're next to the banks, but then when they get out of sight is when they crank on this bunker fuel. All you have to do is do a Google search on bunker fuel, ship tracks. You'll see what's in them. You'll see how nasty it is. It's one of the most toxic emissions on the planet. And, you know, we're not even really getting into the aerosols. They also call this accidental geoengineering, stratospheric sulfur injections, albedo enhancement. So we have all this information here, and Jim Lee's got it all lined out right here where you can see it all. You can read all this information. You know, they've been wanting to melt the Arctic for over 100 years. And we're seeing it right now. You heard the meeting I played there in the beginning where they have weather control. They want to starve millions of people worldwide. I mean, everything that guy said is coming into fruition right now. Everything. You know, they're using drones. They're using everything right now. I showed the other night the ingredients of the chemtrails. You know, tonight I'm mainly just kind of sticking with the ship tracks tonight. And I'm just kind of going through. I couldn't remember what all I wanted to go through some of this. But all these links, if you want to read on all this information that I'm putting out here tonight, you can come over here to Climate Viewer. The links are in the description. Are jet engine emissions dangerous? Cirrus clouds are filled with metals, most importantly sulfuric acid. The health effects of breathing aluminum and barium are well documented, but most overlook the concern of the chemtrails and the acid rain. September 25th, 1982. So the additives that they put into the jet fuels, you got it all right here. It's all the ingredients are right here. Here's all the charts. Like I said, I don't have the chart of what's in the chemtrails up right now. We'll do that again another night. We got wind gusts over 100 miles an hour hitting Alaska. Thousands are without power. Winds between 50 and 112 miles an hour hit Anchorage on Wednesday night. The crazy thing is we forecasted this out 2 weeks ago. We told you this was going to be a wind event. We told you it's going to be mega snow. And when the next system comes in, we're going to see feet of snow, not inches. We'll be measuring it in feet. Down in Australia, you still have more than 150 fires burning against all over Australia. Thursday, 66 of the 152 brush fires were contained, with more than 150 fires burning across, and the forecast of more hot and windy weather for this weekend. It's time to prepare. You know, this is all on purpose too. Before the fire season started down here, they cut 75% of the volunteer firefighter workforce. So they got rid of most of the staff that would be help battling these blazes. But yet, they signed a bunch of money for the bullet train that's going to be going into these very places. You know, UK's been getting blasted with weather. They're getting ready to get blasted again. They have 98 flood alerts. It's just come out today. And they got something coming. They just dumped the bunker fuel out there today. Here in a couple days, they're getting another system to flood them out. It's insane what the weather warriors are doing. The weather, you know, the enemies. Go ahead and get out of that. They're saying for some climate systems, the window to act may have already closed. Scientists say urging immediate action. I'm telling you tonight what you can do to stop climate change in 2 weeks. Halt all shipping operations. Stop all flights for 2 weeks, and the earth will heal itself. Guaranteed. So there you go, climate. You know, Greta Thunderbird or whatever your name is. Do what I say and it'll fix it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some maps. Let me go ahead and get the radar maps coming up. We'll see how the bunker fuel operations come in on this map also. We'll check the watches and warnings and all that stuff. I just want to take a quick look. Let me go to global, west side. Because we track these shipping operations, they go off and on at a moment's notice. It's before every hurricane. It's before every major fire. It's before big weather pattern changes. That's the only time we see the ship tracks out here. So I'm just going to see what we can pick up on this one. I definitely see the lighter operation out there. We also have a few strange ship tracks down off the coast of Australia. So this map isn't quite loaded all the way. So we'll just take a look at that tomorrow. Let me go ahead and get this back over to the east, so that we'll be able to look at the other form of weather modification that's affecting our skies, our air, our plants, our water aquifers. Alright, so let's just go ahead and take a quick look in here. I thought I had a layer that was pretty well loaded already. I just want to see. So we got a few bunker fuels over there. Just trying to see if any stand out really good. And not too much. But what do we got going up here off the coast of British Columbia where the high winds are? Aerosols being deployed. Also a bunch of frequencies in the clouds. In the man-made clouds, I'll say. Let's see if that's loaded enough. Yep, these are all aircraft that are creating these clouds. It's mixing with the bunker fuel operations. In the whole United States is almost, the whole thing is almost cloud covered. you know, where the aerosols were deployed yesterday over Florida. Look what's over Florida. And they're still seeding the sky. Watch, I'll take this back to yesterday. It lines up perfectly. Let me see if I can get like the best photo here to show the mega spraying that was. It's probably good enough. But you can zoom in down on these and just see the hundreds and hundreds of plane tracks. Hey, thanks out there, Swamp Fox News. Much love. So exactly where the aerosols were deployed over Florida for the Gulf of Mexico, it pulled the moisture in. Let's go back up to today. Look where the clouds are. And they're still raining. Look, there's a big X right out off the coast of Jacksonville. In fact, there's about 20 X's out here. Now, see how that it started out with 1 X? Now you got like 20 X's. So now they're getting ready to pull some of this moisture on down. We have a Zorro flight pattern over Henderson, North Carolina. Let me make sure that's not a road. No, that's an aerosol. Look, here's another strange flight pattern. It looks like a Freemason sign. Here's some of the chemtrail fog along with the microwaves. And I'm really surprised they're not hitting this much heavier out ahead of the storm. You know, there's such a thing as overseeding the storms, and then it won't rain. It'll just be too many particulates. And I think that's what brings down the chem fog. I think it gets so heavy, you end up getting cloud inversion, and then the clouds are on the ground. So it looks like today the aerosols over the Bahamas has stopped. They've been getting bombarded for 2 days straight. Aerosol operation over off the upper northeast, South America. And it looks like these spraying operations are back over Chile and Argentina. So they only got like a 2-day break. I never noticed this square. What is that? That's weird. Never noticed that before. So let's go out to the Atlantic. Here's the new bunker fuel operation. Let me put on the enhancements so you can see them. Tons of ships. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. At least 17 ships. So we have, just in this ocean alone, we have ships out here putting off more emissions than all the cars on the planet in one day. Let's go back to yesterday. Nobody was out here. Not one ship track was out here yesterday. Storm was still over the United States, but soon as it pushes off, here they come. Here they come to load it up, to reload the storm, to recycle it, and send it over to Europe. Try to get this to load. We have a spraying operation out ahead of at one time was a hurricane. They called it an extra tropical cyclone. See, they're seeding. They're seeding this system. These systems are going to merge. So you got aerosols being deployed by the planes. You got the man-made ship tracks. And then these two systems will merge and do some flooding. Look, they're spraying the aerosols over here, over Barcelona, into the Mediterranean Sea. and we'll try to pick a layer that will show just how bad they're spraying. So these aerosols are drifting out very fast. You can see how fast these things are really spreading out. So they must have some pretty good winds over here also. Got like a random sprayer out here. No, that's just clouds. It looked like one. You know, out here over the desert, we've been seeing tons and tons of chemtrails going over the desert where there's no humidity, there's no temperatures that are capable of producing a contrail, but yet we're getting tons and tons of aerosols deployed, which tells you they're not regular contrails. We got a bunch of weird flight paths out here below Malta. Tons of straight lines, but we got some little S turns. Let's see if I can get that to clear up a little bit. Little segmented spraying. Every country is doing this. The UN is doing this. All the governments are in on it. You know, they signed a treaty on using weather for a war weapon, but when you read into the treaty, it doesn't say one damn thing about protecting your own country. That's the clause. Each country can do weather modification in their own country. It doesn't cover that. That's how they're getting away with it. Here's our man-made storm over here. Past Guam. Completely fabricated over the atoll islands. Bunker fuel operations were down here day before it formed. There's a pattern with all this stuff. The pattern is they use aerosols from the sky. They use the bunker fuel. They use the radars. They use the satellite-based laser and microwave weapons. They use the cloud ionizers from the ground. You know, everybody talks about HARP. There's so many different facilities other than HARP. Farmers can buy cloud ionizers on a trailer. They go set them up. It's an antenna array. Set them up on your farm to ionize the sky. You could also buy rocket launchers to send up the silver iodide rockets. We got aerosols out here in the Tasmanian Sea. Things creating a monster shadow. Spraying over on New Zealand. And now I remember down here there was some kind of weird bunker fuel operation. Somebody sent me the pictures of it and I found it, and now I'm trying to remember where it was. Where was that? I looked at it like a couple hours ago. Now I don't remember where it was. They were using something different. Let me see if I can find this again. I'm trying to remember where that was. I know it was in... Oh, here they are. Look at this mix. What are they deploying here? This is coming out not in the yellow. This actually has a purple and red signature, then a red and a purple. It's like a two-part mix. You got another one down here. So they're deploying something different down here south of Australia, unlike the regular bunker fuel. I don't know what it is. We're going to have to wait and see what happens to the weather. All right. Goes on over Russia. We've seen one of the biggest spraying operations in years up here over Mongolia. Went over into Moscow. It turned in some freak storm over the last few days. I think we're done with that. Here's the most recent, and that's for the X of the bunker fuel. You got one guy going towards, or a couple actually down there in the Bajas. Let's see if we can go back, and I'll zoom in on like one of the worst ones just to show the extent of these. There's another big X down there, another guy right there just starting, and we can see the progression. See, this is where they ripped the atmospheric river into two pieces. There they are. They're all concentrated. And it just split the system. So, you know, here's another 20, 30 ships out here producing all these toxic emissions all the way up to Alaska. Hey, thanks, Swamp Box. Again, much love out there. All right, let's just see if we can see any aerosols with all the cloud cover. Well, we see fake man-made clouds all out here off the coast of Florida, the Bahamas, towards Bermuda, and this is all the spraying from yesterday. Same thing in Louisiana, same big spraying operation was there yesterday. We can actually see they were spraying in front of this whole system. Especially over Kentucky right there. You got bombardment going on through. Here's the Baja spraying operation over Georgia, all through Louisiana, and then all out ahead of the system and on the backside. They were not spraying any of it. They were spraying the whole damn thing. And that's a pretty big time spray down there in Florida. Let's just take a quick look at this. Florida over into Bajas. If you're on vacation in the Bahamas, you're getting chemtrailed. Look, it's all mainly up there. We'll see where how it progresses. So right here in Florida, they were doing little bitty segmented sprays. That usually means rain. And watch them grow. Look, they're growing. They're growing. They're growing, and they just keep hitting the same spot. They're headed for the Bahamas. Complete whiteout, fog over the Bahamas. And it just turns into some nasty stuff right over. I mean, it just went right over the Bahamas. The crazy thing, we have an ionospheric heater right down here. Let me go ahead and show you the ionospheric heaters across the planet. You know, it drives me nuts when I hear people just talking about Hart, because I know there's so many more. So we're going to come over here to the climate viewer maps. Another creation by a fellow activist. You know, it's the technocrats. You know, you got the millionaires, you got the billionaires, and then you got the trillionaires, the people that we really don't even probably know who they are. Why is this not loading? All right, I want to see it. What happened? Let me reload. I might have did something here. Oh, I know what it was. I had my, well, that's part of it. Here we go. I don't know what I did there. So let's go ahead and go over. First, we're going to I was going to look at the watches and warning. Here, we'll just click and look at the watches and warnings real quick. Just to get an idea what's going on. And then we'll put on the ionospheric heaters. So, wow. A lot of stuff going on here. Alright, let me go ahead and go into history and science. Let's check out the atmospheric sensors and EMF sites. Oh, hey, Fallout Shelter. I might have got that fixed for you on the Discord. You can try it later if you get time. Right, it's Hart Technologies, or it's ionospheric pulse wave weapons, you know. But, you know, everybody calling the same signatures HARP is just misrepresenting what we're talking about. And we got the HARP man out there in the audience. What's going on, Billy? Billy Hayes in the audience, who did some work with the father of weather engineering. Also worked on the HARP facility. All right, guys, so here we go. We're looking at the Earth, and down here you see this ionospheric heater on the James Bond movies all the time. This is a 200 megawatt facility, which is the same thing that PG&E owns with its satellite, with its laser-based microwave satellite weapon, the one that's beaming down the power from their satellite. You know, just think of it like you have a magnifying glass and you're trying to burn a leaf with the sun rays, and you got to focus that beam down to get the leaf to catch on fire. Same principle. They're using the solar radiation from the sun, bouncing it off like a space mirror, what have you, and then they're focusing that beam. We seen it happen with Hurricane Michael. We got it. We caught it. Same thing with Dorian. They can't hide the signatures of the clouds. The clouds don't lie. So here's a super darn 4.5 megawatts in Peru, and I'm just going to pick a few random. You know, they're getting ready to build the IceCat. It's going to be 100 million watts more powerful than HARP. You also have an ionospheric heater in Japan. This is a pretty crazy looking one. This is another phased array. If you look, they did $1 billion project in the United States to upgrade the next-red radars to phased array omnidirectional mini HARPs. I mean, they're not near as powerful, but here you go. Here's a circular phased array. There's actually one that I come across not too long ago that is where was that? It's over in China. It's like right in this area. I'd have to go bring the links up. He don't have it on this map yet. It's the biggest radio telescope in the world. India, they got one. 2.5 megawatt phased array. You got them in Ukraine. Here's the one in Russia. Yeah, here's the Ukraine one, 2.5 megawatts, 150 megahertz steerable dish. I don't know if I've ever zoomed in on that one. Can't really see it too good, but man, that's a pretty crazy picture right there. There it is. Yeah, they got it hidden in the grass. Who knows if it's still operable? They probably have something new. And then we got the bad boy. Here's the Tromso receiver array. This thing has, you know, different sections to it. It all, you know, so you can, that's the Tromso. The Wxxxx, they don't have built yet. But look at this. Look at this ionospheric heater site. This is in Norway. You have 3 arrays, all running at different megahertz. You got 5.5.8 megahertz, 3.85 through 5.65 megahertz, 5.5.8 megahertz. Yeah, but the Wxxxx, when they get this thing built, man, we're talking, this is the old Wxxxx, I think. We're talking gigawatts, you know, millions. I think it's 1,000,000 times more powerful. It's either 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 times more powerful than the Hart array. Yeah, 100 gigawatts. HARP. What is HARP? Let me look. Can't remember what HARP is. Whoa, what'd I do here? Okay, here we go. Let's check out the HARP one. So the HARP is 5 gigawatts. The new Wxxx's going to be 100 gigawatts. We're talking, man. Like if you were like thinking earthquakes, that would be like a tremor to a 12.0. You know, that's what we're talking here. So anyway, so that should cover how to stop the climate change. You got the aviation issue, and you got the mega issue with the bunker fuel. That's how you stop it. You stop it for 2 weeks, and the earth would heal itself. All these toxic things would finally drift off way up in the atmosphere and hopefully dissipate after a few hundred years. Otherwise, they're going to keep trapping this stuff in. And I do want to check, while we're here, I want to check the Arctic and the Antarctic. Yeah, the climate activists out there now, they're working for Soros. They're just pushing the agendas to our demise, the eugenics program. It's all a lie about the fossil fuels and the water resources, and how come this isn't loading? Let me try the southern hemisphere, maybe that'll work. Load. Let me put it on less frames too, that might help. This site would not work yesterday, so I'm wondering if they have the, yesterday I was getting a, oh okay, we still got it. So let me stop that go just a frame at a time. You know, we use these maps to, wow, it's only got 1 or 2 photos. But we use this map to look for plasma. We can look for auroras, but a lot of this is from atmospheric heating compression. And you get plasma created clouds, plasma lightning, ball lightning. So there's just not a whole lot loading with this. Let's go back to the northern hemisphere, see if it'll load yet. Whoops, hit the wrong thing. Yeah, pretty much, man. They just hide so much information. It's ridiculous. But we keep finding it. We keep finding, like, here's some pretty good, an example of some ionospheric compression right here. Let me just go see if we're getting any kind of solar wind, any kind of G1 storms. And if we're not, then that means there's some kind of ionospheric manipulation. And I want to look at the temperatures. That's how I can tell. Oh, I just want to look at the... So we hardly have any kind of auroras hitting right now. So the solar wind speed must be really low. So this is something else. This is something, some other kind of event going on. Now let me check the temperatures and see what we have going up in the troposphere. So I'm not seeing any kind of heating event yet, but they're planning on it. See the lighter grays down here? This is a little bit of a heating event. That's why we're seeing more of that lighting. But we've seen them steer this Arctic air where they want it to go. They'll heat one side, it pushes it. If it goes too far, they'll heat from over here and push it back. We've seen it. We documented it last year. Guaranteed. Look at the waves getting ready to hit Alaska. 35-foot waves. Let's take that up a little bit, see if it's going to go anywhere here. Wow, it's just kind of staying in one spot. Taking up a full day. Yeah, it's going to go down south. Wow, we got some crazy waves hitting the Arctic Circle. Let's go ahead and check the carbon. Oh, another way I can show you the... Let me show you the commercial shipping lanes. And I just showed you the ship tracks that are being deployed out here. But if you look at these real long lines, these long, straight, brown, sometimes lighter colored lines, these are the normal cargo ships. They also run the bunker fuel, but these are like the main ship tracks. These are the ones that are sending goods, receiving goods. You can see this monster stream of the bunker fuel right here. They're always on this map. They're continually getting worse. And what this is doing, not only polluting the sky, not only making man-made clouds, not only creating a blanket above the sky, it's making the storms more powerful because you're putting all these nanoparticulates, these nanobots, nano DNA changing particulates, and it's making the storms more electrified, which is making them more powerful. It's just another part of it. So anyway, guys, I think we're gonna stop this show here tonight. Then tomorrow I'll try to get into some other fascinating stuff. We'll send out some more truth bombs. So happy Thanksgiving out there. Thanksgiving, or thanks to all the other truthers out there pushing the truth bombs on the masses. Yeah, they you know, when I first started learning about this, people didn't believe me. People think you're nuts. But the more you prove it, especially with the documentation, the scientific evidence, the rainwater samples, the soil samples, the tree samples, the aquatic life samples, it's easily proven. And what gets me is every one of these so-called climate activists that are out here pushing the Soros agenda never talk about the aerosols in the sky, even though that they're worse now this week than all of aviation put together. We talked about that the other night. Anyway, guys, happy Thanksgiving out there to everybody. Thanks to the people that support us here. We're now down to 10 days, 23 hours, 57 minutes, 20 seconds. It's time to rise. This is a crime against humanity, a crime against future generations, and you are the resistance. Everybody should be an activist. Anyway, guys, much love. Let's play a song called Rise. God willing, we'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.